hometown station real estate and financial guides are back on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS, to share with you what you need to know in order to navigate the sometimes confusing markets and guide you toward financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Fonte.
Welcome back to the Vault. That's right, you have entered the new studios of Don and Gino called the Vault, right here in the Cherry Creek Studios. How about that?
Yeah, in fact, Cherry Creek Studios, that's funny. I'm sure that's some sort of compliance issue that we called it that for just 1 second. Everything's a compliance issue now with the Dodd-Frank Act and everything that's going on, and I should go on your show, Joe, and talk all about that. I could talk about that stuff for hours.
No, let's not. Anyway, let's go to some more fun stuff like elder care.
All right.
I know, huh?
I don't know if it's fun, Don, but it is important.
And you can gather up a lot of great information by going to donandgino.com. That's DONANDGINO.com. Lots of great information. Over 100 and something full shows. That's right. Over 2.5 years of great shows with great experts like Myles McNamara with SEV Comfort Keepers in-home care. So let's talk a little bit about that. What is in-home care? Because there's different options for, I guess, our seniors when they become older, and we have to figure out what stages they need and what kind of help they need. I know there's different areas. Why don't you help clarify what their options are?
It's as clear as mud. Let me try. There are a lot of different levels of care that may be needed, and there's home care, there's home health, there's hospice, there's palliative care, there's physical therapy that happens in the home. Everything except home care is really kind of medically based. You're recovering from an acute issue rather, and you're recovering from a stroke, heart attack, what have you. Home care is non-medical. A lot of people misconceive that we're nurses. We are not nurses. We are companion homemakers, caregivers. We assist with anything that doesn't take a medical license to do. And that could include helping them bathe and shower, making sure that they're eating nutritional meals, taking their medications on time, taking them to doctor's appointments, keeping the house in order. A lot of times that's all that's needed for them to stay at home, especially if you've got a physically able senior but they're having some cognitive issues, if dementia is starting to set in, or maybe Alzheimer's disease. And we talked earlier about how the comforts of home will stop a senior from really declining in health, both mentally, physically, and whatever. Especially true with a dementia patient, because that's their long-term memory. That's that they remember. They know how to get to the bathroom. They know where their bedroom is, et cetera, et cetera. So home care is everything on the medical side, but we do, non-medical side, excuse me, but we do work in conjunction with home health, which is, they are nurses. They are licensed by the state of California, the Department of Health Services, and that's prescribed by your doctor. The doctor will write an order for a nurse to visit your mom or dad's or grandparents' home, but they're only there for a very short period of time. They'll come in, they'll check vitals, if there's any wound care that needs to be addressed, they make sure the med trays are set up, everything looks good, they're gone. Same with hospice. If you're dealing with end-of-life issues, you'll have a hospice company come in and they'll do pain management. They'll monitor the comfort. They'll, as that final journey's taking its last step, they want to make sure that everybody's, especially, and again, it has a lot to do with the family members as well as the patient, as far as who's comfortable, understanding the dynamics, that type of thing. Palliative care is hospice, but it means that the diagnosis has been for 18 months or less rather than 6 months or less.
Okay.
So there's this kind of an extended issue. So we're right there by the side of all these other medical agencies as they come in, because, as I said, they're there for a very short period of time and they're gone. Their job is not to make sure that they're eating or taking their meds on time, or all the things that I mentioned earlier. So it's sort of a seamless interaction of what's going on in the home, where people can age in place if they want to pass in place, if they just want a companion. That's undersold a lot too.
That's a good point.
It is. Depression and loneliness in a senior. If they've lost a spouse, maybe they're still physically able to do a lot of the things, but they're sitting alone. They've sort of shut themselves off from society. So get a caregiver in there to be, a companion. Get them out and about. Take them to outings. Take them to events. Get them outside in the sunlight. Because again, as we're running around in our daily life really, really busy, well, that's 6 hours that just passed that Dad's sitting home in the shadows at home and just getting depressed. And
Right.
Get someone over there to get him up and out and about.
Well, and that's an important piece, because we kind of touched on that a little bit, Myles, with the fact that when these unfortunate incidences come up, it affects the entire family. It could affect the surviving spouse. It could affect us, meaning how much time we have to spend. Of course, we'd love to spend all our time with it, but we have to, still take care of our lives. We have to take care of our children. We have to take care of our jobs. But we do care about our parents, and this is a great way to give them assistance and help and companionship at home, as opposed to just, for lack of a better term, throwing them into a healthcare facility.
Well, and the thing is,
displacing.
them
That's
from
a
their
great
own-
way to put it.
But
Right. A nicer way to put it.
it's really important to think about being proactive versus reactive as well, because to prevent from getting cavities, what do?
Go to the dentist.
Oh, yeah.
Go to the
that's a-
dentist and you brush your teeth and you get your teeth cleaned. Well, it's the same with our seniors. If you wait for that acute experience before you get them help, if you need to pay attention, you need to start, when you visit your parents, you need to open the refrigerator. Is there rotting food in there? Is there,
Oh, yeah.
things are starting to slip?
This is good stuff. I
Yeah.
remember you mentioned this
Right.
type of stuff we don't think of.
Is the mail starting to stack up and they're not, is their personal hygiene starting to slip? Are they very stable on their feet? So what you want to do now is you want to prevent them from falling and breaking a hip. You want to prevent them from going into the hospital with dehydration and a urinary tract infection. So instead of waiting for that and reacting to it, be proactive and go to the dentist. Oh, no. So get them a helping hand so that they don't do that. And how are they, next time you go someplace with your parents, sit in the passenger seat. Don't drive. Let them drive and observe.
Yeah, in fact,
you gotta be pretty brave sometimes.
yeah. Well, Don, I'm not a really good passenger anyway. I can go like 2 blocks and I'm like, I think I'm feeling sick.
Yeah, he can't even look at his phone without getting sick.
Do you really whine like that?
Yes,
pretty much. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Or you get the pull over.
Yeah, that's
It's
only
like-
after a long night of
It's like
drinking.
having a 4-year-old next to you.
So that's why I drive
Are we
everywhere.
there yet?
Yeah, it's
Hundreds of miles, I drive everywhere for us.
kind of handy though.
So it's so true. I mean, with my grandmother, now that she's pretty well recovered after the acute incident, I would say that 90% of the time, the reason any of us are there are just to prevent a fall. It really is the number one thing that we're trying to do is prevent a fall. Because she doesn't. She'll want to get up out of the wheelchair and just go start walking. And even though she can, it's like, hey, you got to have somebody close to you because you're not all that stable. And, at 88 years old, 89 years old, you fall and break your hip. That's really the beginning of the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
All right, so we've been talking about how important this is. Now, how does one pay for this?
Well, therein lies the fly in the ointment.
I'm sure this is a real easy topic.
Something that's
Just write a check.
so
Yeah,
needed
exactly.
and prevalent in our society right now. Insurance doesn't pay for it unless you've had the foresight to buy long-term care insurance.
Which we had Scott Zimmerman talking about that last week.
Right, and,
Yeah.
and you need the sweet spot for you adult children living out or listening out there is about 50-ish years old. That's where you can get a good policy with good monthly premiums. A lot of times seniors wait till they're 70,
Don't
75. They won't
say.
qualify because you have to understand it is a business. These long-term care insurance companies want to collect their premiums so that when you need to trigger the policy, they can pay out. Well, they're not going to sign you up for 6 months of premium and then have you trigger your policy. So there's a medical exam, and you have to qualify for long-term care insurance. So that'll pay for that. If you're injured on the job or if you have a car accident, sometimes that will pay for it because we can help anybody 18 years of age or older. So a lot of times people are hurt on the job, workers' comp will pay for it and what have you. But for our seniors, which is 98% of our business, it's either private pay or long-term care insurance, which takes back to where we talked about earlier, where you have all the con artists out there that says they'll sell you that watch for $10. Why is the price point so low? And I don't want to be redundant. We talked about all that. So it is private pay. There are other options to look at if you're in a situation where the adult children aren't in a position to come together and help pay for home care for their parents. You can look at things, which is your guys' specialty, in reverse mortgages, because a lot of times our seniors are sitting on assets, so they're asset rich and cash poor, but they can do a reverse mortgage and do other financial maneuvers to pay for
Right,
home
which is
care.
really good. We just helped our neighbors out with that, where they had to been displaced from their home if they weren't able to use a reverse mortgage and basically use the equity sitting in their home to basically make their mortgage payments basically for as long as they feel their life, as long as they're going to live in the home. So, okay, so we've talked about the importance of in-home care, how in-home care works. I loved when we come back, we got to talk about why comfort keepers. because you guys are not the new kids on the block. You guys have been doing this for quite some time, and there's a reason you guys are still doing it, and why you're so passionate about it, and why you're so connected to our community and helping out our seniors, which we really appreciate. So do not go away so we can go deep on why you want to talk to Myles McNamara. Woo! When we come back to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. We'll be right back.